Hi, I'm Sherina, and I'm 1/8 of internet actually. This week's theme on internet actually, it is Halloween week, because Halloween is how many days? Halloween is 5 days away. So we're doing this week for Halloween, and who gets to make that video?
I'm scary.
Anyways, we're just gonna pick some stuff. This week, we're just gonna pick things that have to do with Halloween, some scary things, and we're just going to talk about them or show you them or whatever. So I am going to be telling you guys some scary stories. Ooh, scary. I'm gonna tell you guys stories from the book Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And if you remember that book, give this video a thumbs up, because that book was so scary when I was little. So we're gonna revisit that and see if it is still scary. So I'm just gonna tell you a couple stories from the book, and I hope you guys like it, and I hope you give it a thumbs up, and I hope you're subscribed, and I hope you comment down below if you like scary stories in the comments. Comment down below, because I want to know. Alright, let's just get started. And if you are scared of scary things, then don't watch this video, because I'm gonna scare the poop out of you. Right? Right? Mm-hmm. So let's just get right into it. This first story is called The Viper, and it says that it's a funny, scary story. So we're just gonna laugh and we're gonna cry and scream together. Here we go. Let's get started. The Viper. The house sat on a hill outside of town, and rumor had it that the old place was haunted. The man decided to move in straight away, but late that night the phone rang, and when he answered it, a creepy voice said, "I am the Viper, and I will be there in 2 hours." And then it hung up before he could say anything. Not long afterwards, the phone rang again, and the creepy voice said, "I am the Viper. I will be there in 30 minutes, and hung up. This made the man quite nervous, as he began to wonder who this mysterious caller could be. Before he knew it, the phone was ringing again. "I am the Viper. I will be there in 10 minutes. The man was getting much more concerned now. A few minutes later, the phone rang. "I am the Viper. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Needless to say, the man began to panic. Again, the phone rang, and the man slowly lifted the receiver and put it to his ear. "I am the Viper. I'll be there in 1 minute, said the voice. The man ran around locking all the windows and doors, and then called the police. The operator told him that officers were on their way. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Shaking with fear, the man opened the door a crack and asked, "Is that the police?" "No," the voice replied. "I am the Viper, and I come every night to wipe your windows." This next story is called The Dare. One night in a small American town, a young girl threw a party and invited all her friends from school. There was a large group of boys and girls, and as the night went on, they began telling scary stories. Dun, dun, dun. One boy said he had heard an urban legend about an old graveyard that was located near a girl's house. According to the story, an old woman had been buried in the middle of the cemetery, and there were rumors that she was a witch. They said that if someone stood on her grave at midnight, she would grab them and drag them down to hell. "I would never go near that graveyard after dark," another boy said. "Oh, how smart of you." "You're a bunch of morons," laughed the girl who owned the house. "It's just a silly superstition. I can't believe you take it seriously." Slap her. Just kidding. The boy who had told the story turned to her and sneered. "It's all very well to be brave when you're safe and warm in your own house." "It wouldn't make a difference," replied the girl. Okay, then prove it, said the boy. We'll all go to the cemetery and wait outside while you go in and stand on the old witch's grave. A grave doesn't scare me, said the girl. I'll do it right now. You have to prove you really did it, said the boy. Otherwise, you might chicken out. She took a knife from the kitchen drawer and handed it to her. Stick this knife in the grave, he said. Then we'll know you were there for sure. The group of kids set out for the graveyard, and when they reached the old iron gates, they gathered in a circle. All of them stared at the girl. She tried to pretend she wasn't scared, and she hoped they didn't see her shivering with fear. With the knife clutched tightly in her hand, the girl walked through the old iron gateway and made her way through the darkened graveyard. In the moonlight, the tombstones and trees cast strange and unvarying shadows, and eventually she came to the old woman's grave. Nothing to be scared of, the girl told herself. It's just a stupid story. Crouching in front of her headstone, she whispered, I'm not afraid of you. Then she raised the knife above her head and thrust it into the earth. Take that, you old witch, she chuckled. The girl was about to turn and leave when she felt something holding her back. She couldn't move. Something was tugging on the hem of her dress and dragging her down. She was filled with terror and flew into a panic. Help! She cried. She's got me! She's got me! When she didn't come back, her friends began to get worried. After a while, they cautiously entered the graveyard to look for her. They found her sprawled across the old woman's grave. She was dead, and her face was frozen in a silent scream. Without realizing it, she had plunged the knife through her skirt and had pinned it to the ground. That was what had been holding her. The poor girl had been so terrified that her heart gave in and she had died of fright. Wow. Okay, this next story is called Something Was Wrong, and it is about a man who wakes up in the middle of the street and puzzled because everyone is afraid of him. So we're gonna find out why everyone is afraid of him. One morning, a man found himself walking along a deserted street in a small town. He had no idea what he was doing there or how he got there in the first place, or where he had been earlier. He didn't even know what time it was. He saw a woman walking toward him and stopped her. I'm afraid I forgot my watch, he said with a polite smile. Can you please tell me what time it is? When the woman saw him, she screamed and ran away. Wow. The man was shocked. A few minutes later, he noticed that other people were afraid of him too. Whenever they saw him coming, they flattened themselves against a building, recoiled in horror, and ran across the street to stay out of his way. There must be something wrong with me, thought the man. I'd better go home as soon as possible. He hailed a taxi, but when the taxi driver laid eyes on him, he floored the accelerator and sped away. Rude. This is crazy, the man said to himself. He couldn't figure out what was wrong and had no idea what was going on. All he knew was that he was scared and confused. Maybe my wife can come and pick me up, he thought. He found a telephone and called home, expecting to hear his wife's sweet voice. Instead, a strange voice answered. Is Miss Sullivan there? He asked. I'm sorry, she isn't, said the voice. Her husband died a few days ago in a horrible car crash, and she's attending his funeral. Oh! Okay, this story is called Clinkety Clink. There was a lonely woman who got sick and eventually died. She had no family and no close friends, so her neighbors got together and dug a grave for her. When the old woman died, her eyes were wide open, staring at everything and saying nothing. This disturbed the neighbors so much that they found 2 shiny silver coins on her dresser and put them on her eyelids to keep them closed. The next morning, the gravedigger arrived to collect her body and take it to the cemetery. He saw the silver coins covering her eyes. He immediately snatched them and stuffed them in his pockets. Looking down at the dead woman, a chill ran down his spine. Her wide open eyes seemed to be staring up at him, watching him as he stole her silver coins. It gave him a creepy feeling, so he grabbed a hammer and quickly nailed the lid on the coffin shut. Then he buried her as fast as he could. When the gravedigger got home, he put the 2 silver coins in a tin box and shook it, listening to the rattling sound. The gravedigger threw some more wood on the fire and jumped into bed, pulling all the covers over his head. The wind kept blowing through the cracks. Busy, busy, buzzle, it went. Busy, busy, buzzle. The fire flared and flickered and cast evil-looking shadows on the walls. Lying in bed, the gravedigger couldn't stop thinking about the dead woman's eyes staring at him. As the wind blew stronger and louder, and the fire popped and snapped, he began to get scared. Suddenly, he heard another sound. Clinkety clink, clinkety clink, it went. Hey, shouted the gravedigger, who's stealing my money? But all he heard was the wind blowing. Busy, busy, boozoo. And the flames flaring and flickering and snapping and popping and the coins going clinkety clink, clinkety clink. Shaking with fear, he flung off the covers and sat up in bed. Looking around, he couldn't see anything. He leaped out of bed and barred and chained the door. Then he heard something way off in the distance. It was a voice crying, "Where's my money? Give me my money!" The gravedigger was really scared. He got out of bed again and piled all the furniture against the door. He put a heavy iron skillet over the tin box. Then he jumped back into bed and covered his head with the blankets. The gravedigger shivered and shook and hollered out loud, "Oh, lordy, lordy!" Suddenly the front door flew open and in walked the dead woman. Ooh, that's awkward. The wind blew, busy, busy, boozoo. And the money went clinkety clink, clinkety clink, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the ghost of the dead woman cried, "Oh, where's my money? Who took my money?" And the gravedigger moaned, "Oh, lordy, lordy!" The gravedigger watched in horror as the woman came closer and closer, her hands groping in the air. It was as if she could hear her silver coins in the tin box going clinkety clink, clinkety clink. Her cold dead hands groped around, trying to find it. And the woman cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money?" And suddenly she jumped out on the man and screamed, "You got my money!" Did I scare you? Yikes. Those are all
read you to you
scary stories.
Cassie, you need this?
No. So that was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And give it a thumbs up if you are excited for Halloween. And tell me in the comments below what you're going to be for Halloween. Because I don't know what I'm going to be. Probably nothing. Probably just be myself. Because that's what my mom taught me to do. Be myself. So that's what I'm going to do. Probably. You too? And make sure you are following us on all of our social medias. We are at officiallyia on Twitter and Instagram, and my personal things will be in the description below. And I think that is about it. And I hope you enjoyed my scary stories, and I hope that I scared the poop out of you. Go home and buy this book or look it up online and read some scary stories to either yourself or your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or your cousin. Or you could just share this video, show them this video, and I'll do it for you. I'll read them scary stories for you because I got your back, because we homies. Make sure to stay tuned for everyone's Halloween videos this week because I think it's gonna be a fun week. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next Monday, and have a fun, safe Halloween, and don't get too crazy, and don't eat your candy before your parents check it. I'm gonna go now. I love you guys, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.